Welcome back to the live stream. Thanks for joining us from the All Access studio here at Talent Connect 2018. I'm Romaine Buck, and joining me here live in the studio is a special guest, Esther Perel. Thank you so much for joining us. Esther is a relationship philosopher and psychotherapist. I have to know,
yes,
I've never really considered the idea of a relationship philosopher before.
Right.
Can you talk to us a little bit about what that means?
Yes.
What kind of work?
Now, interestingly, it's never a name I would have given myself, right? So other people have decided that it is a person who studies the belief systems, the values, the attitudes that undergird the relationships, the way that we think of them today, the way that they have changed, how they mirror the social and the cultural changes that are happening across the world. It's a kind of a thinking about relationships and a developing of models for how to think about relationships.
I love that. And the idea that relationships are so key to everything that we do. Relationships matter is one of the key values we have here at LinkedIn. I would love to hear from you, Esther, about how people's relationships impact the way they show up at work and their relationships beyond just their intimate spaces.
Right, great question. So I start from the premise that it is the quality of our relationships that basically will determine the quality of our lives. And that the bonds and the connections that we make with other people will give us a greater sense of meaning and happiness and well-being than any other human experience. From there, I look, people's personal life goes with them to work, and what happens to people at work, which is always intersecting with the relationships, goes back home. You can't separate these two things. We grow up in a history of relationships. We grow up with a relational CV, if you want, and we bring that CV to work. It will dictate the way that we experience what people tell us, if we will experience it as support or criticism, if we lean more toward collaboration or competition, if we let other people help us, or if we feel that we should be able to do everything on our own. The way that we were either raised, I think the two fundamental dimensions, either for interdependence and loyalty, or for autonomy and self-sustainability, those two dimensions are probably central in understanding how people show up at work and what people expect in their personal relationships as well.
So fascinating. So from your research, would you say that most people have those critical relationships in a healthy way, that they have strong relationships, or not?
I would say like this. I would say everybody grows up with a set of two fundamental human needs. Every human being, but also every living organism, every team, every company, straddles the need for security and the need for adventure, the need for stability and the need for freedom, the need for connection and the need for individuality. We all straddle both. And some of us will come out of our childhood wanting more security, more protection, more structure, more clarity. And some of us will come out of our childhood wanting more autonomy, more space, more individuality, more self-expression. And those two people are often together in an intimate relationship, but they're also together on a team.
That is so fascinating. So when you think about the ways that people can take the way that they're straddling the world, whether they come out of their childhood wanting more security or more freedom, how can you make an adjustment? If you come across someone at work who's essentially the opposite of you,
right,
how can you make that relationship a positive, healthy, productive relationship moving forward?
So the first thing is, I don't think there is anything problematic in those stances. Okay. Those are natural outgrowth of relationship histories. We bring them to work, and interestingly, every team or every collaboration at work needs some of each. You need the one who takes the risk, and you need the one who assesses the risks the other one takes. You need the one who takes initiatives, and you need the one who says, hey, let's see how this fits in the overall purpose of what we are doing. You need the one who says, yeah, I need to feel safe in order to trust, and then when I trust, I can take risks. And you need the one who says, no, 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 it is the fact that I take risks which will give me the trust. And these two live in a complementary relationship of interdependence. Once we understand that, rather than you need to change the other in order to make them match, but you actually see that these people's role can only live the way it does because there is somebody else who does the other part. And these need each other rather than these fight each other. You develop a completely different definition of what is relational health and what is a good relationship culture.
I love that. So how do you determine what your relationship health is? How do you figure that out?
I would give you 5 essential dimensions of looking at a culture that has a positive relationship culture. One is trust, or what other people like to call psychological safety. It is the real foundational truth to a relationship, is that you know what you can count on, you know what are the expectations, and you know that there is somebody has your back. You can go out. Now, interestingly, in the past, trust used to mean I know you for a long time and I know who you are and therefore I can trust you. In the share economy, where we share our car and our homes and our most prized assets with total strangers, trust is no longer about I know you so well. Trust has become I can give you something, I can fail, I can safely fail and come and tell you and I won't be shamed for it. And therefore I can innovate in the context of tradition. So trust, number 1. Number 2, dependability or accountability. I count on you to do what you said that you would do, that we all need to be done for the well-being of the team and the company. Number 3, clarity and structure, meaning we are clear on what is expected, what each one of us is supposed to do, how we are interrelated, and how what you do helps me do what I do, and vice versa. And the structure of expectations is clear. Number 4, communication. We talk about this well, and a healthy communication doesn't shy away from conflict or from discord or from disagreement, but it knows how to promote connection rather than destruction. And it is really, it speaks directly as is, but with care, fierce and caring at the same time. And number 5, meaning, purpose. I know why we are here. I know that I matter to you, and I know that I matter to what I do matters to me, and I know that it matters for the world, that it doesn't make me feel like it's just empty, hot air. That sense of purpose, that we are in something that has greater meaning beyond myself, is the next element that we as human beings absolutely need.
5 fantastic tips to measure your relationship health. I'm curious, how did you get into this work as a relationship philosopher?
So I've been a therapist for 35 years. I still am. I still work in my practice. And I would say that working with couples and with families is working with relationships that are often experiencing high distress. I know to work with highly conflictual, highly polarized relationships where people have fundamentally different points of views with somebody who they once thought that they got along. Sorry, this is
no problem. Live TV, sometimes we lose our microphones.
We'll make sure that
okay.
You don't stop hearing me. So I think that what is really important is there is a confluence today between how the relationships have changed and are going through rapid norm changes in the personal world and what it is happening in the what I call the second relationship revolution in the workspace. That there is a real confluence. Some major things are happening. In a nutshell, I would say we've brought market economics into the bedroom, and we talk about and we do all kinds of consumeristic behaviors in our romantic aspirations. But at the same time, we have brought the world of emotions into the workplace. And for the first time, we talk about trust, authenticity, belonging, communication, emotional intelligence, words that never were part of the speak in the business world. And relationship skills have become the new bottom line. They used to be considered soft skills. That used to mean feminine skills, and that was just kind of an aside. This important understanding that relationship skills are more important at this point. The currency around relationship matters just as much as the currency around productivity and processes, is something that I can bring as a therapist, as a relationship expert, that I've worked with. You know, it is the language I have worked and lived in for decades that I now can transfer into the workplace in a much more integrated fashion than when people used to come and say, I came to talk about my marriage, I came to talk about my manager.
And Esther, we will have to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us. Esther Perel, such a pleasure to have you with us.
My pleasure.